Hey everyone, welcome to Clarity Tarot. Today's reading is going to be What Does My Child Want Me to Know? This also works for your inner child if you don't have a physical child. It's also if like a future child, if you're adopting, or if you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant. Any of these could apply. Also for a child that is no longer with you on the earth plane. So lots of ways this reading could apply for you. And we have 4 piles today. Pile 1 has the Asbury Oyster swatch. I'm trying to pick a color for our new couch. So I have all these swatches lying around. Someday when I can afford it. Why are couches so expensive? Can someone explain that to me? It just seems like a little outrageous. Pile 2, Prime Peacock is the name of this color. Pile 3, we have Banks Nutmeg. And pile 4, Plush Mist. So those will be the 4 piles for What Does Your Child Want You to Know? And the timestamps will be in the description box. I will see you at your reading. Hey, pile 1, if you picked Asbury Oyster, I'll just put that up there. This will be your reading. So what does your child want you to know? The Moon, the Lovers, the Seven of Swords, 4 of Pentacles, 10 of Swords, wanting to come up reversed, and 9 of Pentacles. What does your child want you to know? So I'm getting a couple of scenarios here. I think for some of you, you're asking about a child who is unborn. So you might be pregnant right now. And this child is just kind of loving life and doesn't ever want to leave. You know, there's some kids who, I don't know how people know this, but I've seen some things written about it where like being in utero was like the best part of life for them. They loved just being that connected to the mother, to not having to deal with the outside world. And this child is that type, like just really happy to have you be pregnant with them. If that doesn't refer to you, if that doesn't resonate for you, then this child just really wants to be at home. I'm getting a vibe of a kid who really doesn't like to go out and play with other kids. Maybe they're kind of shy. Maybe they prefer to just be on their own or with family members. And it's not like a character flaw or something to be overcome with this child. It's something to be understood about their personality, that they're just more of a homebody. They will be that way later in life as well. I think they're very connected to the land with the 9 of Pentacles. Like this is a person who might in the future want to work in agriculture in some way or viticulture. Some kind of connection to the earth. It's a very grounded person. Some kind of like earth and water combination astrologically, if you know the signs for this child. And what do they want you to know? That they want things to stay the same. They don't want anything to change. They want to hold on to exactly how things are right now. I'm even getting kind of like a fearful vibe of anything shifting or changing. It's not exactly fear though. What is the word for this? Discomfort. I think this child just really prioritizes their comfort. This could even be true with clothes also. You know, as kids grow up, sometimes they're more interested in fashion or a particular look, Like this kid will always be most interested in comfortable clothes and situations and like really cozy pajamas, fabrics that are very luxurious and soft on the skin. So it would include like sheets, blankets, shoes that aren't too tight. This would be a kid that hates to dress up, hates to be in anything like tight or stuffy, like having to wear a suit or fancy tights or shoes. And what do they want you to know, pile one? The other thing that this child wants you to know is that they want your protection. I'm even thinking of this swatch that you selected, which is the oyster color, which makes me think of how oysters have this pearl that they're forming on the inside that's protected by this hard outer shell. And I think this child looks to you to be their protector, to, excuse me, I have to yawn. Oh my. To protect their interests, to keep them away from harm. If you're here asking about an inner child, I think your inner child is a lot more chill than you would expect. Maybe you're even kind of an out there person, meaning like maybe you have a big job or you're a public speaker or you do a lot of like more extroverted out of the house activities, but your inner child really just wants to hang out, rest, be comfortable. I seriously cannot stop yawning. I was not tired before I sat down. Maybe if this is a literal child, they actually need a nap right now, or maybe they are napping for some of you. But they want you to know that like they like to be at home and just kind of like puttering around the house, and it's really important that you not see that as a character flaw. I think there's something about you, pile one, that you feel like that's kind of antisocial or dorky maybe, or there's some kind of judgment that you might have in your mind or even in your subconscious, honestly, about being that way. So you don't want to encourage it in your child or in yourself. But this child is coming through to say, like, please just accept me. And this is a big part of me, and it's a good thing, and I love this about me, and I hope that you will too. Kind of a sweet message. So I think that's your message, pile one. Let's see, how should we close the reading? I'm going to pull actually from this Enneagram deck that I've created, and we'll interpret. So for pile one, please. So we have the childhood wound of self-judgment coming out for Enneagram type 1. So the final message for your reading is that this child's very hard on themselves, actually, and so they're extra sensitive to anything that you might think or say about them. Even like a look, like looking at them the wrong way, they could be really sensitized to. I think you know this already, pile one, but it's just a reminder to be extra tender and gentle, particularly around like how this child is and like, is it an acceptable way to be in life? Like, is it okay? Even something as simple as like, is it okay that I'm blonde? Or is it okay that I have brown eyes? Or is it okay that I'm short and all my siblings are tall? Is it okay that I'm quiet and other people are loud? So really helping this child with their sense of self is the advice for your pile. Okay, pile one, I hope that resonated for you and was helpful in some way. Please leave me a like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hi, pile two, if you picked the prime peacock, let's take a look at your reading. And this is, what does your child want you to know? Or inner child or future child. We have 6 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands. It was wanting to come up in the reverse. And then the Hermit card. Actually, let's switch these positions here. What does your child want you to know? I think your child wants to go outside more, and your child actually really likes school. So, whatever it is that you're doing for education for this child right now, I'm hearing like turn up the intensity. So, if you have any influence over how fast this child is learning, or how intense their studies are, I would say this is saying to intensify those. There's, how there's that research about like the right level of stress, and how like if you don't have enough push or enough stress, then you actually don't improve or don't reach your potential as optimally or as fast. Likewise, if there's too much stress, if there's too much pressure, then it really negatively impacts everything. And this child is being pushed like not enough, basically. Like there's not enough stress and pressure, specifically educationally, I'm getting. So that's a message for some of you. Otherwise, this is a kid that just really wants to be able to play outside, and specifically to play with you. So with the Six of Cups card, I mean, I'm seeing that there's the two, are these little boys maybe? Two little boys playing outside. But the message I'm getting, that I'm hearing, even though it's two little kids out here, like, yes, this child loves to be outside with their siblings or their friends in the neighborhood or whatever the case, their friends on the playground at school. But really, who they want to be with most outside is you. And even if you're not like an outdoorsy person, even if it's like terribly hot or cold outside and you just don't want to deal with that, Spirit is saying that there are some really fun connecting activities you could do outside that you would also really love. So maybe if you think back to when you were a kid and the kinds of things you like to do outside, maybe you liked to ride bikes, maybe you liked to draw on the sidewalk with chalk, maybe you liked to go get lost in the woods or find a trail and explore. What else? I don't know, dig in the garden. There's all kinds of different things that you could do outside. And think about, actually, instead of thinking about what the child would like, think about what you would like to do outside and then invite the child into that. With the Five of Wands in the reverse, this child really doesn't want to fight. I mean, I don't know many children that do. I guess maybe if you had a little Aries baby or something like that. But this kid really wants a lot of harmony, doesn't want to argue, doesn't want to have to disagree with you about anything. So if there have been some kinds of like petty disagreements in the house recently, I'm trying to think of like what a child would ask for that would create a disagreement. Like maybe even something like, can I have a snack? Can I have a dessert? Can I go see my friend next door? You may have noticed that this kid has stopped asking for some of those things. And for some of you, I think it's like you're thinking, oh, good. Like they stopped asking for dessert after supper. Like that's good, because that was annoying, and they need to just focus on eating their supper anyway. But there's actually something here about it being a really big deal when this child actually talks about their preferences. So if they actually say, for example, I really would like a dessert, or I really want to go see my friend down the street. They're a very dutiful, kind of inhibited kid. And so, as much as it's possible for you to be able to work with them and say yes to them when they do express a need or a desire, Spirit's saying that that's a good thing to do. Just because this is the type of child that could grow into an adult, and just never ask what they want, only do what's expected of them forever, because they've kind of shut down their own desires. And I know you don't want that for them. Likewise, if it's an inner child, it's kind of the same deal. Like maybe your inner child has been speaking to you here and there and saying, hey, I really would like if we could just go do this thing, or go talk to that person, or let's go to bed early today and wear our favorite comfy socks, or I don't know what your inner child says to you. But if you say no over and over, you'll stop getting those requests at all. So Spirit is saying, like, really make an effort if you can to say yes when this child is stating a preference, because it's really important and it's a big deal for them. With the Hermit card, so the Hermit card here, I think, is about like a spiritual journey. This child has some spiritual wisdom to them. Actually, they're very spiritually oriented. So for some of you, if the prior message doesn't apply about education, maybe this kid isn't even in school yet, or even if they are, the education and the growth could be spiritual growth. So maybe this child wants more exposure or more opportunities to learn about God, the spiritual world, the natural world, systems of thought or philosophy in a way that's age appropriate, obviously. You're not going to be able to take a 5-year-old to a philosophy class and have great results with that. But there is this part of them that they really want to explore, that Spirit's encouraging you to help them find some outlets for. Okay, anything else, Spirit, that I missed that's important to mention here? I'm hearing be open to learning from this child. I mean, obviously you're the adult, you have a lot to teach them, but there's actually a lot that they have to teach you that you might not be aware of. And Spirit's saying, like, be teachable. And how teachable are you? Like, are you willing to learn from this little person? Because they actually do have a lot to offer and a lot to show you. Okay, and let's close the reading with a card from my Enneagram deck. And we got 2. Defense of type 7, rationalization. Wisdom of type 3, believe equals achieve. Nothing stands in your way other than positivity and a plan. So what's coming through again is around the education and like the stress or the pressure put on this kid. I think that you are perhaps maybe like a lower pressure person. For example, if you were in a highly competitive environment in school, that would have been really detrimental for you, actually. But this child is not that way, actually. And it might be hard to tell because, you know, they're adapting to their environment. And if you're creating the environment, then it's probably more chill. But this is a high achieving, more ambitious, high pressure individual. Like, that's the kind of environment they thrive in. And I'm not saying that you have to like remake your whole home environment, but if you can find some outlets for this person to be able to explore their interests in a way that where they have like more control over their output, or like over how much they're investing, if that makes sense, that would be a really healthy thing for this kid and for you. I think what I'm hearing is that you may have some hang-ups around this from how you were raised, from being pushed too hard. And so, you know, that's one of the things you can learn from this child, is seeing the other side, seeing when that's healthy, when that's positive, and how some people really do need it. So take that message if it resonates. Pile 2, I think that's your reading. And thanks so much for coming by. Leave me a like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye-bye. Hey, pile three, thanks so much for being here. If you picked the Banks Nutmeg swatch, this will be your reading. And this is, what does your child want you to know? Could also be an inner child or a future child. We have 10 of Wands, 9 of Wands, 2 of Wands. Your child I think for a lot of you, this is a more grown child. So not a 2-year-old, someone who I would say is an adolescent or above. Doesn't have to be, but for many of you, that will be the case. This child wants you to know that they have now made it to the other side of a really hard time. This could be lots of different situations. I'm hearing things like a job loss, a health issue, a relationship breakup, a move, finishing school. There's just all different kinds of scenarios, but things were really, really tough for your child recently. And they're just coming to the other side now where they're able to say, okay, I made it through that. And now what's on the horizon next for me? So it's like a chapter has closed and they are discerning where to go from here. I think they may even ask your advice about what to do next. They might not straight out come out and say like, hey, mom or dad, parents, I'd love to hear what you think about this or that thing. But there's something about this new chapter that they're moving into that you would have a lot more wisdom to share. I'm also hearing that this is a child that maybe hasn't been that open to your wisdom in the past. And I'm hearing from Spirit that that's because it wasn't as relevant to their life stage or to what they were dealing with. And maybe that makes sense for you, pile three. But this next chapter they're moving into, you do have a lot of experience and wisdom and knowledge to share with them. And I think it's going to be a really sweet chapter. I think you'll feel more connected to them because you'll see more similarities in where they are now versus where they've been in the past. And it will just be a little bit smoother and easier to connect with them than maybe it's been in a while. The other thing that your child wants you to know is that they have a lot of creative and spiritual energy that runs through them. And we have all Wands cards here. So Wands is the fire element, which is Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. And I really think of the fire element as almost like the breath of heaven, like spiritual energy. It doesn't mean the other 3 elements can't be spiritual, but the feeling or experience of inspiration, of being moved, of being opened up to life in a new way, I feel like that is the fire element, and that's like the breath of God. And so there is something deeply spiritual about your child. Maybe you've recognized this in the past, but it's been hard for you to understand it. And Spirit's wanting me to just mention as an aside, like, even at times when they have made decisions or gone down pathways that you thought were wrong for them or bad for them, they were always following this sense of inspiration within them. And they've been very true and authentic to following their path. I think if you were to ask yourself that question, like, for example, if you asked yourself the question about this child, like, does my child always make the right decisions? You might say no. But if you ask yourself the question, does my child always follow their authenticity and their inner guidance and maybe their guidance from Spirit? I think that answer you would always say yes. So if you've ever had conflict with this child, that's basically what it comes down to, is that the conflict is that they're following their inner guidance and it doesn't always match with what you think things should be. Which is ironic because I'm getting the sense that you're the kind of parent who would, like, you really want to instill that in your child, that they follow Spirit, that they are led by God. And so it's kind of funny. It's like, be careful what you wish for, kind of, or it's like, it reminds me of that saying, like, nobody really knows what they want. I certainly relate to that. I mean, things that I pray for, that I want, and then if I receive them, sometimes I'm like, oh, there's a downside to this I didn't think about. Anyway, so that might relate to you, pile three. if you pick this pile thinking about your inner child is very reliable and trustworthy to show you the next step in life. This is an interesting message. I'm hearing for some of you, maybe you have always felt this way, like when you were younger, for example. And now if you're getting older, even if you're only, 20 years old, you're starting to think, well, maybe I shouldn't follow my inner child anymore. Now I should be mature. I'm an older adult. I'm 20, I'm 40, I'm 60, I'm 80, whatever the case. And I should make decisions based from a different part of myself. And Spirit's saying no, actually. Like the way that you've been directed by this inner child of yours has been really beautiful. And many of the gifts and positive things that have happened to you in your life have been because you've been so willing to be led by that part of you. So definitely don't give that up. What else does this child want you to know? They want you to know that this last chapter they've gone through has been really hard. We mentioned that already in the beginning of the reading, but I think it's coming through to be reiterated because it's not just like, oh, this was hard. It's like, this was really hard. Like maybe the hardest thing I've ever been through in my life is this chapter I just closed. You may not know that, pile 3, that your child was suffering so much. Maybe they reached out for help less this time than they have in the past, or for whatever reason you just haven't heard about it as much, or they haven't complained as much. I think that's more because they've changed how they receive support and how they get through hard times, more than saying anything about how hard of a time it was. Yeah, so they want to make sure that you know, like, hey, this wasn't just hard, like this was really hard on me. Like I have scars from this chapter, and I'm glad to be moving on to something better, bigger and better now. Not necessarily bigger, maybe smaller and better, because we have the numbers going down here. They're shrinking 10, 9, 2. So there's something about getting smaller and getting focused. If you're at this pile and you're still listening and you're asking for a younger child, like a 5-year-old, let me just drop in here and see what the message would be for that group. I mean, this could be even something like school. Like right now, or where I live, kids are about to get out for the summertime from school. And this year was the hardest year for them. For some of them that was socially, for some it was educationally, but whichever group you fall into, this child really struggled this year. It was really tough, but they made it through. They learned their lessons and they're looking towards a bright future. Okay, let's pull a couple cards from the Enneagram deck to close your reading. We have the love they want, type 9, a nest, a place for harmony and relaxation we can enjoy together. What does this even say? I wrote these. Oh, I think that was when I had a different, that was like a mistake. Never mind. So, this was wanting to come out reversed for some reason. I think your child is learning about this right now. It's never been important to them maybe to have a nest, but something about this last year has shown them how essential that is, and they're putting a lot of time and energy now into creating that for themselves. And maybe this is what you'll connect around, pile 3, and where they have some things to learn from you. about how to create more harmony and relaxation in the home. And they want to share that with you. If in the past this has been a child that wants to like go do all the new things together, you might find that that's changed and they want to just kind of hang out and be harmonious and peaceful with you, and maybe you'll really like that. Okay, pile 3, that was your reading. I hope it resonated. Please leave me a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Hey, pile 4, how are you? Hope you're doing great today. Thank you for coming by to my channel. If you picked the Plush Mist swatch, this will be your reading about what does your child want you to know. 5 of Pentacles. They love cuddling with you. Look at that picture. Judgment and the High Priestess. Ooh, wow. Okay, so for some of you, this is a future child. So you're either adopting or thinking about a child for the future, or you're asking about your inner child, but you maybe haven't thought about that much. Like, what is my inner child? What are they like? It's kind of a newer concept to you. So whatever case it is, or it could be a child that's passed on. It's a child that's physically, like on the earth plane, you're not very close to at the moment. And I'm hearing lots of different scenarios right now. For some of you, this may have been a miscarriage. For others, it was a child who died young, like 3 years old. I'm hearing for some others, it's a child that you're thinking of, either adopting or bringing into your home in some way. And there's actually, I'm hearing that there's 1 or 2 of you that picked this pile that didn't have a human child in mind, but are thinking about an animal actually in your home, but perhaps like you think of like a child. That's really specific. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if that resonates for everybody, for anybody, because it sounds like, I feel like there's at least 1 of you here where that's the case. Okay. What does your child want you to know? I think what this child would say to you is that separation is an illusion. Obviously, if it's a 5-year-old human, they're not going to say that with those words. But I find it interesting even that the swatch that you picked is mist. There's just something very spiritual and ethereal about this pile. It's almost like, just because we're not connected on earth, and just because I can't hug you or touch you, doesn't mean that we're not connected and the love doesn't flow between us. This feels like a relationship that cannot be severed, that it feels biological or like a blood tie or something really strong, even if there isn't a literal genetic blood tie between you and this person or creature. I would say this child would say they consider you a soulmate, and here's what I mean by that. So I'm of the opinion that we all have multiple soulmates, and they can come in many different forms. There are some romantic ones, there are some platonic ones. Like you could have a soulmate, a member of your family, for example. Or soul family, maybe is a better way to think of it. I think like soul mates, it's a very small number. I would say somewhere like 3 to 5 people in your lifetime where you have that really, really deep bond. And this child has that with you. And so, if you've had this experience with anyone before, that you're still connected to that person, whether or not you see them all the time, whether or not you talk, whether or not you share the same physical space. And so this child's just reminding you of that like, yeah, I know it hurts to be far away, or it hurts not to be able to connect. I'm hearing a scenario now too of there may be one of you listening who the child is physically with you, but in some way they're removed. Like maybe they're an infant, so they can't talk to you yet. Maybe they have some kind of special needs or issue that impacts their ability to connect with you. Maybe they're on the autism spectrum, and so there's only certain ways they can connect. But whatever the case is, this child is saying like everything's perfect just as it is. There'll be time where we can commune just perfectly together, and you can say everything you want to say to me. You can hear everything you want to hear from me. We can do all the things physically that you'd like to be able to do, like go explore and go on adventures and go pick flowers and whatever it is that you're interested to do with this child. But they're saying like this time isn't wasted either. I think a few of you here might, as part of your faith system, believe in like a life after death or heaven or something like that. So maybe you spent a lot of time thinking about how amazing it would be or will be when you're reunited with this child in heaven, and you can walk together and laugh and play. And the child is saying, yes, like that's true, that is going to be great, but don't miss out on what's happening now, like right in this moment. Like if you look inside your heart, you know that you can feel me, you can hear me, you can commune with me. Like we're not separated now, we are connected now. So don't miss out on the gifts of this moment and the ways that we can connect in the present, because you're so focused on how things might change in the future and how our love might take a different form. And I'm coming back again to like the first image that struck me, laying out your cards on the Five of Pentacles card here with, it looks like a mother with a small child, and they're just cuddling together. And I get the vibe from this card that they're going through something difficult and comforting each other. So if that's true for you, if you're going through an especially hard time, this child wants to say to you, like, I'm here for you. I'm here with you. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. This is only temporary. Even if it feels like you're in this period of time that's going to last forever, it's only temporary, and we'll be together in another form soon. Okay, anything else for pile 3, Spirit, that you want them to know? Sorry, pile 4. Just to reiterate that, like with this Judgment card, you see all the spiritual energy in the clouds. The primary way you're connecting with this child, no matter what your situation is spiritually. It's energetically. It's not with words. It's not with physical time or activities. It's with spiritual energy. And nothing can stop that. Nothing can be in the way of that. You could be in prison. You could be separated multiple countries away from this child, but you still have that energetic spiritual connection. Okay, and let's pull from the Enneagram deck to close your reading, and we have the gift of type 2. Love, connectedness, and symbiosis. Symbiosis is a really good word for this reading. That's really the vibe I'm getting from the Five of Pentacles and what I've been trying to describe this whole time. It's like so natural and fluid, the way that you connect with this child, and nothing is missing, nothing is broken, nothing is wrong. Even if something terrible happened here and there's a lot of grief involved with or surrounding your relationship with this child, everything is as it should be, is what I'm hearing. So take that message if it resonates. Thank you, Pile 4. This was your reading. I hope it was useful for you and helpful in some way. Please leave me a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in a future reading. Don't forget that if you're interested in a buy one, get one free personal reading, I am running a special between now and June 15th, where if you buy one reading, you get a second reading for free. So think about whether you're interested in that. See you again soon.